Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Brogan. Today we are doing another simple signal stream, and today has been a good day. As you can see on the 24-hour, obviously we've just gone into the new hour right now, 9 PM my time. You can see obviously the 1 hour, it's obviously going to be 0% because we've only just printed, but 24 hours where it's at, and you can see we've had a positive day. Now, again, I'm going to get into this when we've gone to the charts, but I don't want to preface this before we even start the stream. There's a lot of uncertainty going on right now. You can see we're pretty neutral and fading grid. We're very unsure of what's going on. And what doesn't help is the way the market's been responding to the opens of, America, especially in Asia. But I will show that all in the charts in a second. But we do have another potential movement. Obviously, we're at 59,391 right now. Obviously, if you know from the last stream or the stream before, whenever it was, or I know I talked about it last stream, but whenever I first talked about it, I think stream before, obviously talked about 61k being the top of the range. Obviously, I think there was also some mention of 64k, but yeah, regardless, that sort of range there. Obviously, the downwards end being about 46k, being pretty crazy there. So we'll get into all that in a second. Hopefully, you guys are good. Hopefully, you guys have been winning some trades. It's been very hard. It's been very hard lately because America, every time America opened 7 days in a row, we went negative. Then we had 2 days of positivity, out of the blue. Then we had yesterday, I think America was also negative, and then today we've pumped. It's all over the place. It is really all over the place. The structures, it's not really too easy right now. So guys, just hold in there. I believe in you guys. I believe we can all make it. Especially if you don't trade the shorter time frames, trade the high time frames. I think we have a good understanding of what's going on. But other than that, check the descriptions out wherever you're watching. There are useful links down there, especially Telegram. That is the main place where me and Mike are always in there talking this and the other. Obviously, got the OG area, and shout out to Mags because that person, I believe he has become an OG on YouTube. So obviously he's got access to the new group, the OG group where everyone is, where we have proper chats, and I give my secret. I don't give all my source. Obviously, the magician can't give away all of his tricks, but I do give away resources, many resources in there. And kind of things I'm looking at and talking about, and just things in general, because as I always say in my streams, you don't want to learn for the rest of your life. Obviously, if you expect when you're whatever age you are to never learn ever again, that's obviously wrong. But you don't want to be learning for 90 years about trading. Obviously, you want to kind of get your strategy down. But I do give away resources on things I'm looking at, things I already looked at. So if you do want to go join there, go check it out. Go over to YouTube. All the information's over there. I don't have to say anything else. And the last thing is, got any coins to cover? Any coins after Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, I will cover. I'm not going to do too many, if there is too many, because I do want to end it about 10 o'clock my time. So if there's a bunch of coins suggested on the YouTube and by OGs, etc., then I will cover them first. But regardless, put it in the chat. I will read it out when I see it, and I will write it down on my amazing list of awesome coins. I think that is it. Let's just check some percentages, and then we can move on to the charts. So Bitcoin 8% up 24 hour. As I said yesterday in the intro, the coins right now, they're acting like altcoins right now. These percentages are crazy. Absolutely mental. It's crazy. 8% up, obviously 5%, 5.8% down 7 days. Obviously that spans over the multiple days. So our movement upwards of 8% and our move down of wherever it was, down to 49, obviously has been offset, but still down 5.8%. Ethereum's up 10%, pretty nice. 2,575. I do need to go to the Ethereum chart because, as I said last stream as well, I mainly am covering Bitcoin charts in my personal time and looking at Bitcoin because it's kind of like the big one right now. So obviously the last time I did Ethereum charts was last stream, so I'm quite interested to see what's going on there. Going on Solana as well, 8.83% as well, so similar to Bitcoin. Not as down, which is obviously good on the 7 day, $156. But coming from where we were, it's crazy. It is absolutely carnage. But again, over the long period of time, I do expect us to be coming up, where we dropped from and some. So it doesn't really matter at the end of the day in the long period of time. So XRP is up 25%. I believe there was some sort of court case residing thing going on. So I'm not surprised about this at all. This makes sense. This is news based. Obviously, huge percentage in some other coins. Obviously, a lot of altcoins going on. No, this is good. Obviously, very good positive day. Again, when you've got 7 days of negativity, when every single market, whether it be Asia or America, is producing negative results at the end of their session, you do need to expect for some sort of recovering. And obviously, we are going to be going into Bitcoin in a second, showing you guys. Obviously, I'm going to go over, because again, you always have to be, make sure you're confident in what you say. Obviously, make sure you're whenever you TA, you're not just checking it every 2 seconds. But at the same time, you do need to be open to changing things and make sure things are the best. Give yourself the best opportunities to win as much as you can, because that's the only thing you do in this game is you try and win. So we are going to be going over some of the things we talked about last stream, obviously for people who weren't here last stream, and giving some updates on it for moving forward to the market, however long this takes to reside, coming into maybe September, October, on the long term of things. So other than that, I think I've done everything I can other than the chart, so I think we should just move on to the chart. So this is, actually, I'll go over this one first, because this is kind of the main one with just the volume coils and the flag we have on Bitcoin. So you know what, I'm actually going to delete these white circles because they don't actually add a single thing to the charts. It's just a waste of time. Don't know why I've line here either. No point. So we filled. Okay, let me go to the 4 hour, because this is, here we go. So this is what was of importance to us, was to fill this candle. So it's obviously easy to see on this darker chart. This is the area I was talking about when we were down here. I think last stream, it was about Monday time. We were basically over here. I was saying we need to continue to come up into this area. Obviously, we have filled it, you can see, but we have had a big pump. Obviously, this is the 4 hour, so this was within basically America Open. This is basically the same as this candle. Sorry for, again, it's really hot in where I am right now, so the window's open. If there's bikes, I'm sorry. But you can see, you can notice something consistent here. You can see these two candles. What is the similarity between these? Well, these are identical, candles basically. These are identical situations, because these both are situations which reside within the America Open. Obviously, my time frame UTC +2 is UTC -4 for America, so this is like 6 hours behind. I believe it's like 9:39 o'clock. Or pre-market, whatever. But these basically two candles are the periods where America opens. So we've had 2 days now of America, being positive, which is good. Obviously, if I can go back into obviously markets again, Saturday, Sunday are going to be for the majority closed, but we can go back to maybe like Friday. See here, this was America candle again, just completely downwards over the period. Going back here again, you can see this candle was open, continues to go down. This was open as well, continues to go down. Obviously, we had some movement upwards throughout. This was obviously when we hit the actual resistance. So it was from this period onwards. You can see that this candle going down. Pretty much every single market open was a move downwards. But I think I sent it in the Telegram. Actually, let me bring the image up, because I actually color coded it. I'll show you guys. I just wanted to see how saturated we are on the downwards movement, and see what sort of market conditions we were based on the opens of America and Asia, or mainly America in this case, in the past 10, 11, 12 days. So let me just go get that screenshot. I have no idea where it's going to be. I think it should be up here soon, so give me 2 seconds while I go find this image, wherever the hell this is going to be. I should find it any second now. Here it is. Okay, so this is the image. This should be the image. Yeah, okay. Let me screenshot it so I can actually bring it up. So this is what I sent in the Telegram, just to see the general kind of market, when we had positive opens, when we had negative opens. So you can see the red circles are when America was negative, when each black bar is basically the 3 p.m. Kind of open, or in my time 3 p.m. when America opens. You can see really bad, really bad. So we did actually have another, I was trying to find it, I couldn't find it on the chart. We did have another negative open and continuation this day, I think it was yesterday. But you can see as we continue to come down, it's kind of like this kind of gives us an overall trend of what's going on. When you can see, it's black actually. When you can see the overall trend, it's like, okay, cool, bam, really going down, and then we bounce off a significant line here, and you can see obviously during different market opens we go up, but this black line is America open, so you can see from this open we start to come upwards. So you can see this bounce on a wider kind of scale of things. If we had like a candle for every half session, you'd probably see something like this where you see a bounce. So it's kind of like a really zoomed in version of a general trend. You can see, okay, normal movement downwards, we've had a bounce, and now we're starting to have a movement upwards. kind of like doing this. Obviously not coming down all the way here. We didn't come all the way down to like 49k, but yeah, we are coming up a bit now. Obviously this was a bit of a downwards move to kind of like, you know, cool off some steam. I think we came towards some like fulfilling some of these green areas on the chart. We can probably go look back on it in a minute. But obviously again, we are printing positive today. As you can see, 59.6 right now. So we're starting to come up a bit. We are starting to come up a bit. We are very, very close as well to the 61k importance line. So my previous drawing was us just coming down, because again, I didn't have the market kind of situation we're in. You know, we were already up in the air at that point when I drew that AMD cycle coming down to 49k or 45k, whatever it was. We didn't have the data where we bounced off 49k. Obviously, we did have previous vector candles in that sort of range where we bounced off. But again, considering the magnitude of our fall, it was quite hard to tell if we were going to bounce off there or not. But again, you know, again, like I said, coming back to what I said in the start of the stream, you know, redrawing charts and kind of looking back on the data over and over again each day, and you know, reiterating over your charts to make sure you're the most accurate you can be. That is what I've done. Again, it's messy. I'm probably remove this red one. But looking back into this, what we're doing right now, and kind of paying attention to what the situation is right now in the market, just redrawing a new potential of what could happen. But again, like I said, this is kind of our potential. We are producing a positive again. So in the past, you know, between these 4 sessions and the last one's about 5, we've now printed 3 green. So now coming a bit more positive, coming towards maybe a week, because this is about, you know, 7 days, now coming to about 5. So it's not quite a full week yet, but we are starting to see these positive kind of sessions as we continue in the days. So this is a good sign. This is a good sign. But again, paying attention to what the general trend was, you know, going back to the daily of what I've already drawn, is what I think is going on with Bitcoin, is what we could see. Again, this will kind of reign supreme over just individual sessions to pay attention to. So, you know, that was just something quick to mention. Going back into the market now. I think I had this area because it was vector candles. You can see here. This is the area where I think most people have expected it to stop before kind of continue to come down. Again, obviously, this was when we broke below and wicked down all the way here. If you can, again, look back, this was it's hard to see because it's on such a high like time frame. And again, this is the 4 hour, but if I go to the daily, you won't be able to see these vector candles. So you can only be seeing on the 4 hour. And you can see like here, maybe come into here a bit. You can see this general range had more vector candles. If we zoom back a bit from this candle, you can see it is roughly where we printed, you know, maybe off like a couple $100 or whatever it is. So we came down another bit here, which was obviously unfortunate. So obviously bouncing off that, filling all this basically. Obviously we filled this and some, you know, because these green circles, as I mentioned previously on the stream before this one, and probably the last stream, was the screenshot I sent in the Telegram, which was the general overall kind of trend I saw for the market. That was the daily. I believe, when was this? Was this like a week? I must have had some area here. We probably already filled it or something. Oh, you can see, yeah, the red's here now. So this was something I drew ages ago, already talked about in the Telegram. So if you're not in there, obviously go join that. So this was kind of the cycle I saw where it was like, okay, cool. So we're having these downwards movements, but what kind of numerically data, not so data based, could explain this sort of movement when obviously you can use the vector candles to explain this. So this was kind of already kind of, what's the word, telegraphed in the sort of price movement we had and the volume. This was already telegraphed. This is something we already saw and seen, as I've already sent. You know, I think it was like a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was, when I sent this. Or, yeah, this was drawn quite a while ago. I can't remember exactly when. Maybe not a week ago. Maybe like, maybe a week ago, actually, yeah. So, obviously, this is a new green area. We are coming into it. Remembering, again, this whole candle was really, really extreme. Like, you can see all the other times we've had this movement, it's been normal. Again, obviously, this downwards one was pretty crazy. But these are just periods where we can fulfill this. And again, coming into this area, the overall trend, again, we had this big old movement upwards to allow for this movement downwards. So, again, we're just slowly filling these areas. And again, what was this candle? Or what was the bottom of this candle to fill the entire kind of vector range? Well, you know, it was 51.7. This was, you know, the line. Again, this was the line we already had drawn. So, again, coming down to it, you can see we don't have anything here. Maybe you've got this like kind of like this, you know, inefficiency here, which we came to. But on the overall trend, this is what I'm talking about when I look at the 4 hours and I talk about vector candles. I can't really go on the higher time frames because volume is different on each time frame, so you can't exactly look at it there. But regardless, coming into it. We did come down to fill all this candle eventually. We still had some outstanding, but now we filled it, which is good. So we've already talked about this again. I keep on saying this over and over again, but me saying we've already talked about this, but we have in the channel previously on different streams, when we talked about, I thought we had an extra bounce in this kind of flag before we pumped. So this is kind of our extra. You see bounce, 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 bounce. People are like, oh my god, we're going to break out here. No, we had an extra bounce. Because we already talked about the time frames coming into September, October time. I've already talked about this in the Telegram and on streams. I'm not going to go over it again. But we've already known this. So going on my sentiment of, I think we bounce again, I think we come down again, it backs it up based on this kind of volume we had. Or if you look at, market inefficiency, we had this over here. Obviously, we had this one, but, when you've got multiple things going up here, you've got to really pay attention to what's going on. You've also got this previous high. That also is a bit more backup if you don't use inefficiencies. Things frozen. I've also just drawn a bunch of white dots here. There we go. So going back to it. So obviously, we've got this high here, which we also bounced off. So there's many things in this area where we can measure, where we could potentially come to for the price as our max. But if you're someone who's already known what's going on, there's potential for coming to 44k, what everyone talks about. Now again, this is also something to remember. The market always does what no one thinks it's going to do. Or if you see in the news, the general news, not so much like the really good traders, like the general news, everyone's like, oh, if I think 40k, everyone, the normal trader who just really looks at the news and does really basic TF, like, oh my god, we're going to go down. And then everyone puts all their trades in. I'm not saying, oh yeah, the retail is what completely takes over the market, but what are the obviously market makers, they're allowing for this leverage. Obviously, this is kind of like a situation where it's like, well, they want to get that money back, don't they? The house always wins type of thing. So what are they going to do? What are they going to do? And we've looked at this. Everyone looks at this. Liquidation heat maps. OI, CVD. Obviously, now there's obviously this funding rate scenario thing going on, so you can look at OI and funding rate. There's a reason for people to be looking at this. If everyone was longing and there was liquidation points, and then obviously there are scenarios where there's always going to be a scenario where bears win, there's always going to be a scenario where bulls win. So I'm not saying no one can win in a market, but the market is drawn to the highest point of liquidity. Where is the most liquidity? That is where it's going to go. So it's not out of the realm to say that, because people look at these statistics all the time. So it's not hard to say, okay, cool, we've got this gap, or we have bounced off here, but that could be attributed to this, or we've got this gap here, and again, obviously you've got these smaller candles allowing for this bigger candle. So you got this range. Now, if I draw an actual rectangle, it's going to be dark mode. I'm just going to leave it for now. It doesn't really matter of what this looks like. It matters what the values are. Try and what I'm about to say right now, try and remember what we've talked about last stream if you were here. 45.7, obviously 47.7, and 44. What is similar, and what is, when you hear these values and you think back to my last stream, what do you think? We think about what we already talked about on the light time frame over here. 46, 44. 44 is already drawn there. 44 down here, and 40. Obviously, this is getting a bit lower. I already said this last stream. I don't think it's gonna be this end. I think it's gonna be the higher end. And you can go to the daily as well, and you can see these candles are here anyway. For the 47 range, as you see right there on the right. We've got 45, 44. So we've got this range already. So we've got this big gap, this inefficiency we have. We've got vector candles. We've got other ranges within these kind of like highs and lows. So there's a lot of things, which if we were to fall again, suggest we would come to this range. But what's obviously concerning me is the fact that everyone thinks we're going to be going down. And obviously what happens, everyone's shorting, like, even though we're recovering now in the market, it's like, okay, cool, we're recovering, we're going to have, this is like a fake out, this, that, the other, or dead cat bounce, this, that, the other, we're going to go down again. This is what I've already drawn. I've had this drawn for a bit, quite some time now. But the fact that this sentiment's kind of changing and this, that, the other, it's leading to me to believe we're going to be going up towards 61k more. Because the more you see the news try and talk about 48k, 47, 46, the opposite we're doing. We were going grand towards 44k. And I started to see all these articles and all the major people and people in general going towards the fact that we can go even lower. And now we're starting to recover. So that changed my mind to believe we'll actually go up to 61k first and then potentially come down this, that, the other. So we'll probably show some signs towards 61k of having some breakout or this, that, the other, or signs that we're going to hold this value and we're coming up in the market and we're back, Bitcoin's back, we're going to 73k, we're going to pump, and then we've got this outstanding vector candle, outstanding inefficiency for potential. So that's just kind of my thought process right now. So let's go to some lower time frame. Let's go on the light theme over here. Got about 10 minutes before I want to move on to other coins. Also, again, to reiterate, if you're just joining, please put some coins you feel. Actually, I should probably read the chat as well. I haven't done that yet. In a minute. If you've not, done some TA and you're like, I don't know what's going on. I want the best TA drawing person in the entirety of crypto to give me some charts. Then put it in the chat, and I will have a little look. Let me just bring up some chat. Yeah, like I said, okay. If you've put a coin in the Binance chat, put it again. I've just refreshed the entire, like YouTube refresh something. But Binance gets severely neglected. If you refresh the page, or if you resize the page, the whole chat disappears. Which is like, come on, really? That's how little effort you're putting into the web page? Come on, even I can do better. So ask for it again. I can't see it. And let me read the YouTube chat while I'm waiting. Max is here. Oh, go. Absolute go. Too early. Oh, yeah, this is before the stream started. Kishan, congratulations. Yeah, guys, if you don't know, if you're not in the OG chat or anything like that, Kishan, go, right? Absolute go. He's got a good strategy, which works. No, it actually works. It is proper good. He's got his own little strategy. Really, really good. He's a professional trader. Puts in wins all the time in the chat. He's either winning all the time or he's losing a bunch and he's only putting his wins. I don't believe it's that though. That's just some, off the top of mind, go on, whatever. He's an absolute go right here. Who's in the chat as well? Andrew, hi, hello, welcome to the stream. Glad you could join. Let me zoom down a bit. The chat never works, man. I can't scroll down. There we go. Mantra, have a look. Let me write that down. So yeah, I'm gonna move on back to looking at Bitcoin. If you do have any chat, again, like I said, if you do have any charts, please put them in the chat. It's itchy today. Good morning to you. Welcome to the stream. So yeah, this red one, I left it on the screen so I could talk to you guys about what I've already talked about in the streams. The red one is what I've looked at previously, and the blue one's what I've drawn again. Obviously, this bounce was, again, looking back at what's already happened in the market. So it's not like I'm a big savior in I'm like, oh, I've predicted this line. No, I've drew this because of the movement, because we're having an upwards movement now. So you can see Veds candle daily. You can see we've got this, 61A, 62 range. We've got 61,117. I think is also going to be a decent price point as well. Coming up all the way towards 65,311, which is a bit high. This grey area is a let me zoom in a bit. There we go. This is a order block, engulfing order block right here. As you can see, we respected it. Bounce here. We flipped it, bounce. Tries to test above, broke, bounce, bounce. Flipped it, support, test. Coming on here. There we go. Obviously, flip below it, resistance, really good resistance here. Boom, flipped it, really good support here. Obviously, big sell-off from the Vets candle. So we have flipped it multiple times, not saying that, but it's still an area where there's significant buy and sell, or significant resistance support, whatever you want to think about it as, supply and demand. So that is something to remember. This is a big old area we've got right now, big old area. So this is where I think we'll come to. The bottom of that, which we have bounced off multiple times, is about 62. Obviously, again, lines up with this vector candle, lines up with this. This is obviously an inefficient. Oh, it's not actually an inefficient sell line. It's not quite there. We do actually have this here, which we are coming into, which we're probably filling, and I don't expect us to break all the way down. We're probably going to flip and then use a support in the 59k area, which we're using right now, like I said. So I do think we eventually, continue our ride up all the way to fulfill this area. Well, not the full area. I don't expect the full area. Per se, I do think we have some sort of meat in this area to come into and fulfill. So you can see, obviously, we have consistent lines here. You can see these bounces here. If I shimmy down as well, so let me get a more consistent one here. You can see, obviously, we've got this line here, bounce off it here, support. So we do have a significant line. Let me do a ray, actually. I'll come and redrawing this. Let me just do a ray so it's a bit better. There we go. It's got this raise. This is about 63,371. So that could be a significant price point as well. So I just think, personally, within about 63.3 area towards, 61, 62, basically. I think this area is going to be our longer term. I have this 61,117 because this is I believe, a high point to consider. Yeah, this is going to be considerable to break above. You know, we're probably going to break above this and then come down a bit and then continue a higher high. So this is something significant. 61,118, sorry. That is going to be significant. I'm saying that right now. That's going to be really, really significant price point. But in terms of, like I said, the higher time frames, looking at what we're actually doing in the price, I think that this area is going to be of importance before we come down again. And again, remembering what is actually, what is, leading me to believe this. All this is pie in the sky. I've already talked about this on the last stream. This is pie in the sky. This is our AMD cycle. Right here. This is based on different numbers, kind of leading towards the assumption that these areas are going to be where we're going to have AMD cycles. So, we can see each area of the cycle can be split up into different sections of the AMD cycle. It's fractal at the end of the day. Because obviously, price is fractal. If you've ever looked at that, price is fractal. So you can see we have this distribution, which leads us to have another AMD cycle. Now, this is it's not conspiracy, but this is kind of looking advanced. Again, I've already said this last stream. I'm not saying we're going to come towards, the 1st November 2024. I thought I had a higher. Yeah, I did. Let me zoom out weekly. Obviously, we've got this big one, which we've already talked about. Where we have AMD in here, it's going to cycle down. I've already talked about this, saying that I don't think we're going to have it towards the 26th of February. This is going to be a normal cycle. But we can have our movements. And this is also something important as well to remember. The accumulation is just normally is laying out your high and your low and sitting within that range and, forming this kind of normal area. Manipulation is your drastic movement up or down. It doesn't have to happen on the dot. It doesn't have to happen in the middle. It can happen the latter, it can happen in the former. Distribution is the general movement of the opposite of manipulation. So you can see manipulation was rapid movement upwards, printing above the previous high, obviously at about 69, whatever it is, 60, whatever. Printing above this previous high, that is a high manipulation, which leads us to have a bearish AMD cycle. And you can see, after we print that, bear in mind, I'm not lying about this. This goes back from the start of Bitcoin's conception on, this, the exchange. Zoom back in. Not like 2012 type of Bitcoin, but you know what I'm trying to say. But you can see we print above, and what happens immediately after coming and having this high print showing we have a bearish AMD cycle. Lower, bear trend basically. Look, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. Unless we break, look, boom, boom, boom. Unless we break 72, 73, we're not going to produce a higher high and continue onwards. So the importance as well is of lower lows. When you're in a downtrend is the lows, and when you're in an uptrend is the highs, when you're looking at what sort of trend you're in. So the lows are more important than the highs because you can have like these like sweeps or whatever you want to think about it as, these kind of fake breakouts, whatever you want to think about it. You can think about however you want. The lows are more important. You can see low, low, low. So as long as we don't have our low and then have a higher high where we're printing at, it's okay. And then what leads that? Okay, if we're still in this cycle, where do we need to go below? Well, we need to go. Well, actually, to be fair, we've already had our low, to be fair. This was our low. You can't see it was awfully messy drawings. You can see, this was our low. Obviously, sweeped it, came up. These were our lows, sweeped it, came up. We've already had our low. So now we're going to have our... You can see these are the highs, and then we had a lower high. So we're going to have another lower high. That could be in this range. More than happily. Boom, in this range. Not saying it has to be on 68, because these are so close. It can range. It can definitely range. What's the difference between this high and this high? Or if you go from candle bodies, actually, that's probably a bit better. From these candle bodies, you've got 2.58. From these, you've got a 3%. So it's a difference of, 0.5%. But it can be a difference of, if you go from here, it can be 3.5, it can be 4, it can be 5. It can be a difference as long as you've got a lower, as long as you're not printing above wherever this high is at about 69, then we're still in this downtrend and we're still in our distribution phase and we're still moving down. So that's all I'm really saying here. But again, like I said, they are fractal. You can go to have distribution AMD cycles in AMD cycles, so it doesn't really matter. Going back into what we've already just talked about. So again, like I said, reiterating my point before I move on, because it's 9:30. I do think we are having our movement upwards towards, this could be some really fancy breakout. But like I said, we've already got this structure of, our low and then our high, our low. I think we've already had our low. I think we're now moving up to our high. But you can see the gradients of this movement. You can see like the low to the high to the low to the high. Especially coming into this range, like I already talked about with the AMD cycle. This was the low, this is the highs. On the general chart, you can see we had our little bounces here. But as long as we're not printing a higher high and we're continuing to go downwards and still having our lows, you can see it's still okay. Especially from this period. You can see, this movement upwards to the high, down to the low. Actually, probably from over here, down to the low, up to this high, down to the low. The gradient's not quite there, so we could still have a bit more movement, coming in towards maybe, Friday, maybe even next week, actually. Probably have a slow shimmy, maybe having less, because this is a really big candle. Like, this is really, really massive for today. Today's movement's been crazy. Again, bearing in mind what's Asia going to do is of importance. And, considering this candle, we are pretty overextended. Will Asia follow through with having a really big print? Potentially. Asia can follow the same sentiment for having, bullishness. Obviously, we had similar with the market, because that screenshot I showed at the start was only for America Opens or America market sessions. So, Asia doesn't necessarily have to follow through with that for it to still be positive. As long as you're not, fully coming down towards like 52 during Asia, which is pretty impossible. I could still see us maybe printing towards 60k, maybe hitting off 60k if we haven't already, actually. Yeah, probably hitting off 60k again. But obviously bearing in mind, again, if you're someone who looks at inefficiencies or whatever, and you go, oh, well, that's not proper inefficiency, I'm just drawing it out. I'm just drawing what I'm seeing. You can see, we had this inefficiency on the daily, and then obviously we've come to the top of it, and now we've filled it. So I've just Control-Z'd something, so I don't know if I've just broken something. We have this inefficiency, which we've drawn here. We've come to the top of it pretty much exactly, so we could have our movement downwards, which could allow us to have this movement downwards in Asia, which is going to happen in, however many hours, couple hours. So, will it hit 62k then I go down? I think so. It'll retest and drop. Yeah, I think so as well. I think we have that retest. Like I said, Asia, if it holds the same sentiment, we could see above 60k easily. We need that break anyway if we're going up to here. So eventually we're going to be breaking 60k, and eventually we're going to be coming upwards. Are we going to hold 60k once we hit this? Depends how much we fill. This is going to be a huge sell. This is going to be huge. You see, we've already filled this. Again, we've come from a point where we filled this buy down here. We filled this buy. We've filled a lot of buy over here. So I'm not surprised that we haven't responded from this sell. But again, these are volume candles. These aren't perfect. I'm not saying these are going to like boom, come all the way down, and we have to sell at these areas. But it is something which slows our momentum. So I definitely think we're going to produce I don't think we're going to produce a higher high at 70k. I think we're going to produce a lower high, and we're going to continue with our lower low down to 45k, and then that is going to change us a bit. Because this is not AMD. Again, like I said, this is AMD. We're going to continue in this sort of, trashy movement. Down, up, down, probably up again, maybe a bit more down. Or we could just, have our down, up, down, and then continuing upwards, coming into manipulation phase, which is important. Again, AMD is important, but the manipulation distribution are where it's really at. Manipulation distribution is where like the big movements, or where the movements. I'm not saying accumulation, the big movements can't happen, but distribution is where like the movements happen. But manipulation is what determines that latter movement. So I'm interested into seeing what happens during, between basically the 20 day, maybe the first half of September is what I'm interested in seeing. Maybe towards after the first week of September onwards towards the 20th. So maybe the second week or the third week of September. I'm interested to see what that's gonna foretell or entail, I suppose, with the word. I'm interested to see what that's going to happen. If we go down, we're going to have our movement upwards. I'm expecting probably a movement downwards in the manipulation. If we have downwards movement where we've come from, we're going to test off this and come back down again. And if we come up, manipulation will be probably us coming down a bit and then coming up, which would then, or if we've come up already, like I say here, manipulation will probably be either continuation and then come down, which will be our exaggerated move. And if our exaggerated move is downwards for manipulation, that will lead to a movement upwards in distribution. So coming in from, basically September towards October, I think we have our breakout for the bull flag. And again, you can go back a bunch of streams ago. I've already talked about this. I already drew out my lines. I already thought we would have another bounce. I already thought September, October time was our important area. I already thought that September time was when I thought we would go up. And then coming into October is when we break out. So this just lines up even more with what I've said. Will it happen one for one? For me to be able to predict exactly what the price action is going to be from the 24th of July all the way to the 1st of November coming into late October is hard. It's not impossible. I'm not saying this is impossible, but, I've already done it wrong once because I haven't had the existing market data to back up what we're going to bounce off. So yeah, that's all I'm basically saying here. I'm moving on now, though, because I spent 5 extra minutes on this, which I didn't want to. Let's go over Ethereum and Solana quickly. And then, can I move on? Which is probably this one, isn't it? Okay, where have I drawn? I think I drew a bit on Ethereum, talking about our potential lows and whatnot. Okay, we had some highs up here. I swear I already talked about, like, lows, like, talking about where our low area is. Yeah, down here. I already talked about this down here. These lines, what have I drawn these lines for? These are probably just, like, consistent high points, right? These are from ages ago, though. Yeah, I just have these areas. I don't think it's the chart. Is it this one? I must be wrong. I swear to God I had a chart already. Talking about my ranges. I must have, maybe this one was, oh, not this one, the, where's it gone? Where's my chart gone? Jesus. Oh, here it is. Okay, maybe I didn't. Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. Maybe I didn't. I thought I drew rectangles. So again, going back into this period, this is daily, pretty similar to what Bitcoin's doing. Pretty similar. Coming into areas of sell, probably fulfilling this again. This is the daily. So this is the equivalent of 64k. 2,900 is the Ethereum equivalent of 65k, whatever it is for Bitcoin. Obviously, you've got these near enough equal lows here. You can see, which give us our kind of reversal, which is going to be an area of where we're going to dip below. Which, if you go onto higher time frames, is probably what we're doing. You can see we've had these lows, consistent lows. Actually, if I shimmy it back, you can see. Where's my pen? There it is. So what we've been doing, we're in an uptrend. So you see uptrend, bang, producing all these lows here. We didn't actually have a higher high either in our kind of range. So this is going to be a bit of an issue. But what's more important in an uptrend, like I said, is our lows. If we're going to break or not, as you can see, had our lows. We never produced really a higher one. Now we're breaking below, which is obviously a bit of a shift. And again, if we go into this is weekly as well, so this is a bit of a shift. But this is important. These are going to be consistent areas where if you go down below them, you want to try and come up above them again. But considering this is going to be our, you can see we didn't actually produce a higher high, and then we actually are breaking below these lows. So this isn't a good sign if we want to keep up this uptrend, which we are, holding on to from this boom uptrend. Really good uptrend, pretty much. We're starting to shimmy it again. Had equal highs here. So these are going to be, let me get a rectangle out. These are going to be good areas for sell potential here. About 4,000, which is already somewhere I've already talked about ages ago. When I looked at order blocks, there's probably an order block back here which I've already looked at. Coming back to it, but coming into where I've already talked about, that's a bit of an order block there. But what do we do? What do we actually do? Why did we stop there? Is kind of the question of importance. Well, you can see a really nice order block here. We shimmy that across. It was pretty much on the dot, not on the dot, like on the top. But you can see we were, what is that? About $40 away from the top of this. And again, order blocks, you either look at the top, you look at the midpoint, you look at the bottom. But if I go to the daily, you can see this lines up with the $1,900 and $1,800 I've already talked about. I think it was on the 4-hour. Was it the weekly? Yeah, it must have been. I already talked about it last stream. Talking about, I think it was $1,900 is what my lowest for Ethereum was. This was in the scenario that Bitcoin does go to the 45k range. If we had a consecutive or an equal market movement in terms of the whole market move to these sorts of lows. Solana, I believe it was like $103 or whatever it was. Ethereum, this was our low point, would be about maybe $2,000 maybe at this midpoint, at 1,900 minimum, or maximum, sorry. Obviously Bitcoin had its 45k, whatever it was. So obviously explaining that, you can see this is a good order block, explaining it. You can see obviously we did have another order block which we didn't hold, but you can see by the retrospect of this, like, did we really hold this too well? Actually, we did. If we go to the 4-hour, damn, that's really crazy, huh? Probably go to daily instead. Did we hold this well? You can see, formed it, resistance midpoint, support, resistance midpoint, support, got up. So this is a decently respected order block. Obviously, this was huge sell-off. But you can see right now what we're doing, printing above this midpoint, pretty much using its support in this area, which is nice, really good. We've also got these near enough equal lows here, which is a good sign of continuing upwards, or going back upwards for for the coin, or for Ethereum in this case. I don't know why I said the coin. So yeah, like I said, I don't really think there's much more to say other than what I've already said in the last stream, which was us moving up into these areas, coming towards maybe like this area 2,818, coming up and having pretty extreme difficulty, and seeing what's going on. But again, what do we say? Where's the high for Ethereum when you compare it to Bitcoin? Well, okay, where's our high? This was basically our high in comparison for Bitcoin. Actually, I don't know what day it was. 29th of July. So this was the high, actually, not here, I'll add. This was the high. This was where we had this retracement and then come down. So this was our high in comparison to Bitcoin's 69k. And as we moved down was when we formed. So these would be our areas. Maybe coming up towards here, you can see. Let me delete that, there we go. We've got that sort of gap there, but is that really going to be of importance? Did we really break below? Are we really missing potential orders there where we went too fast? I don't think so. We see this really big wick here. I don't think this is going to be anything important at 3,000. 3,000 is going to be a really important price, don't get me wrong, but I don't think this is going to be something crazy in terms of resistance. I'm trying to think of any other higher points. You've got more equal lows here, which could be of significance. If I get a ray out, you can see you got these two equal lows here. So we could have 3,087. But I think the main area right now is about 2,900, which is, I think, a major decent area of support within that area, or within that range when we looked at it last, when we didn't break below everything. I'm trying to see back if there's any other significant order blocks or anything which we could have as support. I'm not really seeing too much. Or resistance, I mean, actually. Well, obviously you've got this as... Okay, no, you don't. Never mind, this isn't an order block. This is bad. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't have much more to say. The whole market's pretty much doing the same thing. So I just think it's really going up into this area between 2,900 and 2,600 area. Obviously, you could, similar to with Bitcoin, you could probably argue there's some sort of inefficiency here, which we've already talked about. But again, looking at the height of the wicks, is it going to be very important? We're having difficulty anyway. And similar with Bitcoin, I think it was between 59.8 was the top of it. We could see the top be here, but eventually we're going to have to break above 60k. So maybe concluding, I think America's pretty much concluded. Coming into Asia is what's going to matter, really. If we probably break above this and not have it as something really strong. Because this is daily, bear in mind. Are we going to spend 3 days bouncing off this inefficiency, coming down a bit, maybe towards 2,500? No, I don't think so. We need to be coming up towards this top end to have resistance to come down to our lower point and continue to produce lower highs, lower lows in our downtrend we're currently in. So yeah, that's I don't really think it's going to be of importance. I'm going to delete it. And we are going to move on to Solana for the last couple minutes and then move on to coins. We've only got Mantra right now, so again, put some coins down. What do you think about Luton coin? I'll write it down. Where do I have it? Okay, well, these... Actually, I should probably... You know what, let me... Was it... Oh, it was this chart, wasn't it? Was where I drew from. Here it was. Yeah, this was the chart I missed out on. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, okay, this isn't the low. We have this 2,102 with these lows, which was good. I already talked about 1,900 down here. You can see, we also have... Obviously, this order block was the main area. We've got some, subsequent highs here. You can't see it because it's in black. But what my main thing I'm talking about, you can see we had a lot of highs here. Obviously, had a test upwards, which just produced more resistance. But these main highs here was where we see, coming up into it, resistance, coming up into it, coming up to down. So it's going to be replicated as a significant point of interest, which obviously, again, like I've already said, it backs up because we've had this order block. But in general, this area was of significance, especially down here. You can see these highs here, or coming down to bounce off, is going to be a good area range to see difficulty at. But anyway, I've already talked about Ethereum. I'm not going to move on. I'm not going to continue, and I'm going to move on to Solana. I want to do my main chart because I think order blocks are pretty good on this. It is messy. I'm sorry. Let me put it down to a low time frame. See 110. 100 was good. I think 103 was a good midpoint. Again, obviously a good buy. But again, 110, I think I've already had just drawn. Really good support here. And now we're kind of coming up again, producing some buy, which is good. Good news for Solana. I'm not saying it's going to blow us up to back to $210, but it's still good news nonetheless. But you can see, we are in a, we had our uptrend, broke below our lows here pretty easily, shifted. If we produce this higher high, then I can expect a lower low down here. So it does, again, like I said, with Bitcoin, with Ethereum, it depends on where this high prints. As I said with Bitcoin on the weekly, if we're printing above 70k, awesome, yeah, cool, we've got a higher high, we're breaking out. This is a shift. We're going to go back into our uptrend and we'll continue onwards. I don't think that's going to happen. We're going to produce a lower high. So what happens? We produce a lower low and a lower high. This is downtrend. This is now a downtrend. So where we're going to go? Even lower. That's what I'm saying. Unless we have some market, shenanigans going on. By the way, going back to this, we are filling similar with pretty much everything in the market. We're filling this area. This is the 4 hour, so this is a bit lower. If we go to there's actually nothing here on the high time frame, which is pretty crazy. I've said this before as well. Solana is the moody teenager. Look at this. Order block. How much were we off? Like nothing. How much is that? 86 to 73, I think that is, right? So what's that, 9 cent? It's 9 cent away. So these order blocks, I need to sneeze. Sorry. I've been needing a sneeze. I swear to God, I've been needing a sneeze since like 20 minutes ago, and it's been distracting my speech. I can't get it out. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, you can see, obviously, filling this on the lower time frame anyway. Doesn't really matter. We've got this order block having difficulty at, which we had support at anyway. Having difficulty, filling this resistance, doing nothing, whatever. Where's next, really? Where's next? Well, we've got all this support here. Assuming it's across. You can see we do have random previous order blocks, which we're just using here, there, and everywhere. You can see this bounce here was order block. This bounce here, order block. Resistance at order block. It's very messy. This is the problem when you have so many order blocks, you just get really messy. But where's next if we do break above this? Which, if Bitcoin's going towards 62k, wherever it is, 61k, I do think 61,118 is going to be something I think we're going to purge. We're going to super purge up that. I think we'll have a bit of retractment from that and then continue to 62. I think 61,117, we've got 2 equal highs. It's going to be a significant area where there's probably going to be some sell in that area, and then we're going to come down to a support point, probably pretty close, and then come up again. So just bear that in mind. But if Bitcoin comes to 62, 63, whatever it is, 62, 2, whatever I said, for Ethereum to come to, I think it was 2,900, which was previous support, what is it for Solana? Well, I think it's going to be 172. We've got this sell area apart from this. Where's the next area to come to? We've got this area which we're filling, which eventually when we're going to fill, we've already filled it a bit. Obviously, you've got this difficulty here. We've already filled it, and now we're kind of coming below. You can probably, obviously, you've got this bit of an inefficiency here, which we basically filled it a bit too much. Coming down now, though, filling this at 164. But if we bounce off this order block, as long as we print kind of continuing below, where have we got? This support at 155 is good support. Oh, what is this support? It's an order block. It's an order block again. I was thinking, did we have yeah, we had a random bottom, didn't we? Yeah, that was, I drew that like months ago, so that is obviously not going to be respected. But obviously we're bouncing off resistance, and now we're coming down support. But what normally happens in this cycle, and it doesn't have to happen all the time, because you've got higher highs and higher lows, but you normally come to fill a bit of this, sell, if you will. Again, on the higher time frame, you can look at it kind of fractally. Higher time frame came to sell, came down, come to buy. Now we're coming up to sell. We've produced a ton of sell on the way up, and this is what forms trends. You've got higher highs and higher lows. When you're doing this, it's like, okay, cool. Well, we've got why are we doing this when we're supposed to kind of do this? Going upwards and up and upwards to fill, buy down here, then sell up here, then buy down here. It's because as we're coming down, depending on our kind of speed and our velocity coming downwards, it's are we producing really big inefficient areas where we have a high amount of volume, big candle, where we potentially have more sell outstanding. Obviously you can use inefficiencies, it can be rebranded to fair value gaps, whatever you want to talk about. You can say the same thing over and over again. They're just inefficiencies. We'll come back to these inefficiencies where there could be outstanding orders, coming back to them to have some sell. Doesn't have to happen all the time, but volume does help to try and reckon where these areas are going to be. Obviously it's not perfect, nothing's ever perfect in trading. So as you come up, it's like, okay, I don't think, similar with Bitcoin, Ethereum, as I already said for Solana, I don't think we're going to produce this, coming up to this sell area, because we've got, this is significant, between 180 and 172, this is significant. So maybe coming towards 175, 177 is going to be a good area to see a bounce. which is going to produce a lower high. And then what happens when we're in a downtrend and we've swapped a lower low, coming down to $100. Similar with Bitcoin, with 45 whatever's. Similar with Ethereum, coming down to about 2,000, whatever it is. You know, our high to our low, to our potential high either here or here, coming down to our low, produced about $93 in this area. Again, also, I drew something on here on the high time frame about $79, $80. Or, yeah, for Solana. That's something as well to consider. But it's nothing like set in stone. So yeah, again, very, very similar TAs in most things. Hard to say what's exactly going on. Interestingly, though, no surprise here, though, to be fair. Fair value, order block, sorry enough. Yeah. Order block, and we've come to test it here. So, not too much surprise there. Again, obviously, if you look on the really high time frame of things, you can see we've actually got this going on. You know, we've actually got something like this going on here, which brings us towards, where are we? Jesus Christ. Okay, let me delete that. All right, but you can see on the weekly, this is a really long time frame anyway. This kind of backs up with what I've already talked about with Bitcoin on this. You know, I haven't even looked at Solana on this. I don't really care though. Going back to Bitcoin, let me just really quickly show you guys what I'm about to talk about in a minute, or now even. Going back to this big old manipulating distribution where it's got, you know, this accumulation in this area, manipulation above, coming down to a bearish AMD cycle, coming down during the distribution to these really big lows. What have we got? This was sell. This is like all we have. No, I don't think we're coming down here. This is crazy. I'm just showing you where the recommended buy and sell is for the Vector candles. Flocky, yeah, I can have a look at Flocky. You know, after this, I'll read the chat because I haven't actually done that in ages, and there's probably a ton of coins I haven't looked at. So it's like, okay, cool. Where are we? What's going on? Well, we've got this huge sell. Again, where is it? 165 toward 187. Where's the midpoint of that? $175-ish dollars. Exactly what I already said on the lower time frame, 175, 177 for Solana. We have this. Again, there are areas you don't have to fill. Nothing is ever set in stone for things. There's only Ton. Yeah, I'm looking at Ton. Don't worry, I've already got that written down. I'm not saying, you know, there's no ever TA this that. There's only maybe occasionally one or two things which happen quite rarely, which are something which happens more often than not. Like maybe a CME gap or something. Obviously, I'm not saying that happens, you know, in like no time. It only happens a couple times a year. They don't always fill at the same time, but they are something which, you know, if you traded over a long period of time, you'll be profitable. If you've traded CME gaps, you could do that. But again, they don't have to be filled. Just point it out in general. I'm going to move on now though because I've spent quite a bit of time. When I say quite a bit, quite a lot of time. Let me look at the chat though. At what's going on. So, looking at Binance chat now. Kishan, absolutely go to the chat. You know what, Kishan? Yeah. Yeah, over 30 blocks. It's ridiculous. The Binance chat's awful. This is, again, I say this pretty much every stream. It's like, I normally just look at YouTube. Today, I've kind of been in the charts. Haven't really looked at the chat too much. I mainly just look at YouTube. And that's where I take my things from. Because it's just really where the chat isn't being spammed. I see some absolute G's in the chat though. Posting the Telegram. Oh no, is that a box? Oh no, man. I've been finessed by my own teammates. I don't really see too many other. Good for counter trade. I don't know what's that in reference to. Christian International, absolutely good. Again, also problem is Binance. There's no like explanation of what the gifts are, whatever it is. I don't even know if it's for us or not. I have no idea. GSM Palash, hello to you. Thank you for joining the stream. 1 UCT, no. 61700, that's for Mike by the way. Yeah, 61700 for me. Yeah, mine was obviously I've got a 61117. I've got 62 pretty much exactly. That is all block. So if we respect that, that will be pretty much main area. But it is mainly that kind of place for Bitcoin. Okay, I've already read all this actually. So I'm going to move on. Yeah, Binance chat, you know, Binance Live needs a good work into. Let me check the chat. Okay. Mantra, yes, I will do that. Max, all your targets were reached broken, bro. Were they? Oh yeah, yeah. Because on the volume candles, yeah. Flocky, yep. Chat is showing 1. Don't know what that means. Okay, so now it's Mantra, Ton, and Flocky. Not too much. Not bad. So let me just go onto this so I can just see like where the volume is basically. I've probably already done TA on this. Oh wow. You know, it's been old TA when I've got a volume profile and I've got lines and this. And you know it's old. Let's get rid of this. Man. Simpler times, huh? Jeez. I don't even know what these lines are. It's been so long since I've done TA on this. First breaker block apparently. Fair value gap, which wasn't bad actually. Filled it. Obviously came back to resistance, but it doesn't matter. This is like ages ago. It really doesn't matter. I'm deleting all this. It literally doesn't matter. Just get rid of this. I don't really care about pre-existing stuff. I want to have a fresh chart. So let's just look on daily. What's going on daily? So oh, that came out finally. I've been waiting 30 minutes for that. So we actually didn't have any sell though. Maybe on the weekly we had. Obviously finding resistance at basically, you can see an equal. It's on black, you can't see it. But a pretty equal position up here. You can see, especially on the candle prints, very equal position. Have found our 2 highs. Good. Kind of reversal. Not reversal, but good position to reverse. Now this is a bit of a different scenario actually for. What am I doing, Flocky? I'm sorry. I'm supposed to do the first coin first, otherwise, is it not much? Oh, isn't it like? Yeah, it's Mantra down, isn't it? Yeah, it's this one, isn't it? I remember that from last time. I remember finding being confused where the hell it was. I've done T on this, and I don't know which exchange I did it on. Here we go. Oh well, this isn't that bad, is it? Oh yeah, we had this, didn't we? Like the order flow. Just 4 hours. So let's see, what have we done? Again, this is like Wild West of TA because it's just been so long since I've actually looked. This is good. It came to it. Yeah. Okay. I remember talking. Okay. I think it was. I think we were talking about it here. Yeah. Here we talked about it here. It came up to where I expected based on the order flow, which is good. This was my main area. Obviously had the order block here. This was my main area where I expected to. Found resistance. Obviously no surprise there. Came down. Supports. Obviously having more difficulty. Why? There's probably some sort of consistent price. You can see. There's a normal range about here. You can't see it because the thing's in black. I'll have to do a circle. You can see consistent range here of support, and then resistance. Why is that? Well, great question. Probably some sort of order block here. You can see if I shimmy it across, you can see this is an order block. Okay, sorry, that's really loud in the mic probably. You can see, this is order block right here. These 2 ranges are, you can see, boom, coming down support, flipped it, resistance. So that's probably the explanation of why we had that support resistance. Obviously, big old sell-off in the entire market. Boom, come down. Our lowest point was actually to fill this buy down here, which is nice. Obviously, on the way up to fill the buy, we've made more buy. Found resistance. Came down to fill more buy. Came up. Now we're actually coming down to fill more buy. We're having difficulty at this area. Again, this was all block anyway, so no surprise there. I've also got like a trend line actually going on here. Actually, I need to do. You know what? I just need to do it in pen because I can't draw lines. So you kind of got this, thing. I haven't looked at the chart pattern in a while, but you got that thing sort of there. But that's why I always do Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana first. You always have to pay attention to what the whole market's doing. What's really going on. Each coin is its own entity. That is, there's no doubt about that. But just bear in mind, what's really going on, in the market, so you can kind of compare that to what could happen and what you reckon is going to happen in the market and what could happen with this whole thing here. What are we doing? Are we gone down a bit for Bitcoin, like $400. So resistance. What is our reckon is we've filled sell and now we're coming down a bit, but we reckon we're going to go to 62k. So if we think we can go higher, where's the equivalent for this coin for Mantra DAO? Here we go. This is perfect. So you can see we've filled it a bit. Obviously this is a bit more. This is a bit faster, but we're slightly coming up a bit. So we could fill a bit more. So in terms of our high for Bitcoin being 62k, a high for Ethereum being potentially 29,000, a high for Solana being 177, Mantra could be towards $114. No, $1.14, 114 cents, if you will, to $1.10. If you look, that's the midpoint of this area here. Must have been an order block I drew. Actually, this is the order block here. You can see order block, really nice boom. We actually haven't really respected this order block at all, have we? We flipped it and then flipped it again. We're kind of using it now, but I'll leave it on the screen. It really doesn't matter. So the midpoints, actually, you know what? I'm deleting this. It's trash. I don't like it. You have to be able to let go of some order blocks because they're trash. So we're actually still in the range of here and here. Still good, kind of sitting in here, but I expect if market's doing a pretty nice moving upwards, and also if we see kind of boom, double bottom scenario, if we're printing it still, we could come back upwards. If this is, let me just draw that a circle there so we can see where that is exactly. That is to the top of this. So this would be the equivalent to Bitcoin's 65k roughly. But again, these are different coins. This could go up all the way and then come back down. Again, as long as it's printing lower highs, lower lows in its downtrend. Otherwise, we're in an uptrend, and that goes against the market. So, what are we doing? I mean, to be fair, we're not really in a downtrend. Again, comparing with different markets, we can see like the high, the low. Obviously, had a bit of a thing here going on. High, low, high. As long as our lows are printing upwards, and we're in, what is an uptrend? An uptrend are higher lows. It's normally the perfect one's high highs and high lows, but you're still in an uptrend if you're doing high lows. So it's more about the lows when you're looking at it, And again, with a downtrend, it's more about the highs and the lows. So now, obviously, you can see we're in a clear uptrend. If you compare from this price to this price, clear uptrend. So it's more paying attention to the lows. You can see, bounce here, bounce, 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 bounce. This is an uptrend. We're still in the uptrend. So until we print below on the higher time frame, this is daily. We're not really in a general downtrend. But obviously, if you go to here, you can probably see, you can see downtrend and uptrend and downtrend. So we're still in the downtrend now, comparative to the lows. You can see bounce low here, low here, low here. So we need to pretty much print a low here. If we bounce and then produce a high, that's really when the high matters. Again, like I said, the best trends is when you have low highs, lower lows, whatever it is. But the important one, which you read pretty much immediately, are the lows in the downtrend. But you still have to pay attention to the highs. So once you start printing a higher low, you're like, okay, cool. So we've printed a higher low. Are we gonna break up? And obviously, where's the previous high? So you can see boom, high here, and then this was the general high here coming down, and this was the high. So you kind of need to print maybe coming into this. That's our high. So you need to basically print above this high, coming towards this range to be able to have a bit of an uptrend. You can see, if we actually bounce here and don't have this, then it's a bit. Oh, but obviously there's sticky situations where you have a lower low and then a higher high, and in that scenario you kind of have this thing going on where you can kind of attribute the market condition to a chart pattern. So you obviously got chart patterns. Why chart patterns exist? Because it is a consistent chart. It is a consistent market situation. So obviously you've got the symmetrical triangle where you have the higher highs and the lower lows. And then what is the result of the symmetrical triangle is either a break up or break down. So obviously that's when there's a market indecision going on, and you're like, okay, cool, so what's going on? If we have a high high, and a lower low, and a high high, low low, what's going on in the market? I don't think that's going to happen. That's not going to happen. But obviously pay attention. If we have a high low, and then we have a high high, that could be something interesting in the market. But it is also a general thing. You have to give it some leeway. You do have to give it a bit of leeway like this. You know what I'm saying? If you actually looked at the proper trend, you can see it's kind of like this. You do really need to come up above this. So if we did come to these ranges, I'm not too worried of breaking up into a positive trend. The only worry the only reason I would have a worry if we did that is because it kind of breaks out the confidence with the entire market and what's going on as a whole, where we're in this big downtrend. If we don't really show signs of the different coins in the market showing that we're going to be in an uptrend and going up, and we see the AMD cycle and we think it's going down. Bearing in mind the AMD cycle I've already talked about, Bitcoin is a negative AMD cycle, bringing us down in the distribution phase. It should show us on different areas in these coins. I'm not saying on the 4 hour we can't have uptrends, but on the higher time frame, on the bigger general trend, it should be down. So just paying attention to that. So like I said, I'm going to reiterate because I've yapped. We've got this buy area. I think paying attention to what the market's doing, I think the market's going to do something in general as a whole, which is coming to this $1.14 to $1.10. again, the market doesn't have to, stick one-to-one to each other. It can do a bit differently. So it could come up to $1.23. But if we start to print towards $1.26, I'll be a bit confused. But again, you also have to pay attention to the general, what is this chart pattern? Bearish expanding triangle. So there's also that to have on the plate. You can see, bang, 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 bang. Didn't really bounce here, found resistance, but we obviously bounced here. This was kind of a midpoint bounce. You can see the general trend is doing this. So I could expect higher nonetheless, but this goes into September, October time. Well, we already talked about September, October time. We've talked about Bitcoin breaking out of its bull flag. We've talked about things pumping. So this makes sense. If we continue higher and we don't print, we can see the continuation downwards potential of $7, which could be, you can see the greens right here, about 70 cents, basically 70 cents. This is probably the equivalent of Bitcoin's 45, whatever this, that, the other. This brings us into the latter end of August, coming into September, which is where I expected the bounce to be, coming up into the rest of September and breaking out in October. So this is no different. It might look different from the market, but the action is no different from what's happening in the rest of the market. So no concern there. If we're doing what I think the market's already doing, then I can expect us to continue that on the shorter time frame, which is, let's say, the 4 hour, which is where I think with Bitcoin and Ethereum, we're going up towards 62k, Ethereum towards 29k, or 2,900, sorry. This would be, towards, where's it gone? There it is. Towards, $1.14, no, $1.10, maybe coming up to $1.20 as a wick. That's it. I'm going to move on now, though, to Tom, because that is the other one I looked at, or the other one I saw in the chat. I don't know if I have a chart on this. I will look back there. Okay, I've got something. What was this? So we had the descending triangle, obviously came up above it. This was the thing to suggest we come down to here, and then we did that. Oh, we missed it by a tiny bit, by like a cent, or percent, sorry. This is LTA, it really doesn't matter. What was more important is the order blocks. I mean, we didn't really bounce off it. We had resistance. We didn't come to it. Why did we not come to it? Did we produce another order block differently? We must have had some sort of other resistance. Actually, to be fair, this is actually a bit higher on the higher time frame anyway. Like that instead. I mean, we kind of had this. I mean, this is going to be broken because it's in black. You can see we had our gap, which we came into on the daily, which is good. Anyway, this is all TA. Doesn't matter. Let's go into what we're actually doing. So daily, again, I feel like a track record or whatever the hell, or a stock record. This is the same scenario. We had the down, we've had the movement upwards, eating into this area right now. Similar with Bitcoin and everything. This is kind of the area Bitcoin's at with its. Is it on the daily? Where are we? Yeah, I mean, you can see. I mean, on the weekly, it's kind of the same as well. We kind of eat into this. We just have general difficulty where we are right now. You can see even on this lower time frame what we're doing. You can see this is good as well. Obviously, we had our. I'm going back to Bitcoin again. I'm sorry. Obviously, had this significant area which we've kind of printed above, and now having a bit of a sweep. So this makes sense. This was probably looking at when we flipped this into continuation of the uptrend. I knew this was going to be. I have had this drawn for. I had this line drawn for a while now. I knew this was going to be a significant area where we're probably going to have a bit of difficulty. But again, that's obvious. So obviously comparing Bitcoin with its high, which we're already kind of eating into, you can see we're having this right now for Ton. Wait, was it for Ton? Didn't he talk about something about new? Or I think I misread that actually. Not new. Well, this actually was respected decently, huh? This previous order block, you see, bouncing today. Obviously, resistance bank came up. Obviously, got this big buy, big sell. Similar with Bitcoin, like I said, like this area and this buy. What do we have? Buy and sell. So it's pretty close to each other right now with what's going on. So you can see we're having the moving upwards. We've got this padding below us, which I'm not too worried about breaking. So like I said, with coming to Asia and whatnot, we've already had big movements within today. Obviously, 7.66%, 8% pretty much within today. Even though it's a ridiculous amount, I'm not expect. Also, to be fair, we do have kind of like this kind of like rising wedge for Bitcoin, which has this line probably from here. When if you bring it to here, where does it bring us? Brings us towards 49k, even lower probably. Where's the turning point? You can see we had the. I need to click my neck actually. There we go. yeah, where do we? Our turning point was kind of here actually, which is the downtrend. Obviously, this is chart patterns. These aren't like completely accurate when it comes to like exact movements. But you can see if you go from, you can see we had a bit of dip, we had a bit of a bounce here, but our general downtrend started here. So you can see downtrend, and then we produced a higher high, and then obviously a higher low. So this was kind of a shift in a change of character, if you will. Obviously, this was a candle coming up into it, so this wasn't a market structure shift. But obviously, you can see then we had our movement downwards. So this was the start again of the movement downwards. So starting from here to there, coming towards maybe the top of it. But to be fair, I mean, if we think Bitcoin's going to go higher, and then we get this line, it's going to be pretty tight if it is going to be continuing really, really much higher than 61 or 62. That's why I still talked about the lower end of 61, 62, because you can still see we have a bit of a movement upwards, but it starts to get really tight. So if we shimmy this up a bit, you know, where does it bring us? Well, it brings us below all these support points. It brings us to a new lower low, which is good to continue this downtrend as we have on the higher time from AMD coming down into this area. But anyway, going back to this. So, you know, bringing that over, I keep on doing additional TA on Bitcoin. I'm just bringing over what's happening on Bitcoin over to these different coins to pay attention to what's going to happen in the market to kind of, you know, tell what's going on. Let's go to the daily. Again, this is probably the equivalent of that high for Bitcoin. Let's go to the 1 hour actually. I want to see where the exact is. Very similar with Ethereum, or Bitcoin, sorry. Ton, I mean. You can see very, very spread out highs. Very spread out highs. Coming up to where exactly? 67, 68. This is the 67, 68 of Ton, which is up here. You know, 67, 68 is up here. But actually, probably about here. About $7, $7.50. So where can I see? Again, matching with the market, I do still think Bitcoin has moving upwards. I think Ton still has moving upwards. Look at this. This is massive. We haven't come. You can attribute this to an inefficiency. We have an order block coming into an inefficiency. We haven't come back to test it. So I expect a bit of a retracement, maybe towards maybe $6, $5.95, and then continue upwards, maybe towards $6.90. Similar with Bitcoin, 62-ish K, wherever it may be. Once we reach more sell, I think we have our movement downwards. Similar with the market. What does this fill? This fills, what did I say just then? $6.90. This is about $6.75. So maybe not too precise. I mean, this is the block. This is kind of the block. If you zoom in, this is big block. This is bigger block. This is quite small. So the top of this, $6.64. Daily, $6.70. It's not quite accurate. But again, it brings in this range. This is basically the general range on the daily. It's not quite. This is the range. So this is the daily potential sell range. This is the daily or now the 4 hour potential buy range. So this is a small time frame, so it's not going to be as strong. So this is going to be a strong daily area. As I said with Bitcoin, coming into the daily, we've got this range up here coming towards 62. This is it, 62 at $6.50. So I think $6.50 towards maybe $6.69 in this range. We probably come up to here, filling up maybe some of this. Like I already said with Bitcoin, when it had its actually it's probably on the 1. It's on the 1 hour, isn't it? There it is. We had this high, which I knew was probably going to be an area where we printed above and then had some difficulty at, coming down to maybe eventually towards down here. This is its equivalent down here. So I do think something like that's going to happen for Ton, unless, you know, something comes out about it. Again, each coin is a different market, but that's kind of what I think. Final coin, finally. This shouldn't take too long because I've already kind of looked at it a bit. We are 15 minutes late, so I'll do maybe another 5 minutes. Bring up the Bitcoin chart, give it final thoughts, and then we can move on. This was the big old crazy area. So this is the daily. So let's actually draw a rectangle, or let's just draw like a general range of the big area. Actually, not that little choppy. So this is the big range for Flocky in terms of its buy area. So this is good. You know, this isn't far away from where we've already come to. So in terms of our fall down, it's not, again, really big percentages. It's a different type of coin, but it's not that far away from the bottom, which isn't that bad. So let's go to 4 hour. It's already there on the 4 hour. We don't even have to keep it drawn, to be honest. This is considerable buy. So in terms of coming below these areas, it's going to be pretty hard. Obviously, you could probably say you've got, you know, a slanted head and shoulders as well. Roughly, if we get the head and shoulders thing out, you can see it's kind of like a thing here. It's not quite there because it's the head doesn't really come to it here. But again, the head starts from even here, let's say, like from here, boom, coming down, head, boom, coming down, head, boom, boom, or left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So technically, there's that going on. Obviously, you've also got the rough. Okay, well, actually, it's not quite like a flag or anything, but in terms of looking at the higher, like big trend, or where there could be chart patterns, you do have this slanted head and shoulders, which could bring us down, which obviously is more confluence to suggest we come down on the higher time frame. Not saying on the 1 hour or the 4 hour or within the next day or two we can't continue to come upwards. It's just a higher time frame chart pattern. So looking at where the equivalent buy and sell is, you can see this is probably where the sell is. This is the buy of the TON and the Bitcoin and all that in terms of down here. This is its buy range. In terms of its low, obviously you've got this low, which is probably obviously similarly produced down here. You can see this blue candle is still high volume. This is the equivalent of this. And then the next big area, obviously going back to the 4 hour, is starting from about drawing, let's just say, starting from about 8.5 for Flocky is probably the range for to stop us. Obviously bringing the big range goes from about 5 to 8. I'm not saying we come down to 5. That's pretty crazy. Even from right now, if you were to short it on like a low leverage, it'd be like 57%, which is crazy. So I don't think we come that much. Similar with Bitcoin, the massive range even comes down to about $40,000. This is probably the similar scenario where it has 5.5, in this case, but it only really comes to about 7.5. So something similar like that. Again, I'm going to apply the same ideology in the market to this. We've got this high up here. We're probably going to eventually come to about maybe 15, 14 up here. This is probably, okay, if you look like, so where's the high? So this was our high, looking at the July. This was our high candle and our second one. Similar with Bitcoin, it had these two high ones up here. This is the high one. So this is the 62 range in representation on Flocky. So coming to this place again, you can see we barely, this is significant. Again, this is how you know it's significant. And this actually probably backs up our suggestion that Bitcoin only really touches the range at about 62, 61, whatever. Because you can see with Flocky, we produced it, we came into it tiny bit and then reversed. And you can see from that touch, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We had 9 hours consecutive of sell, which is crazy. So this is a big area of potential, of potentiality, if you will, whatever. So good area of potential. Now coming into it, I do think we come back into it, maybe towards 14 cent. No, 14 cent max, I think, or not 14 cent, 14 whatever, nilfs of a penny. This area, I think this area is where we come to. This is the representation of 62 area for Bitcoin. I think we come to here. We do have this, it's 13.5, but I don't think it's anything considerable. I think we do come up a bit, and then our eventual move down in the market. So let me just zoom out a bit. When was this? Actually, to be fair, on the high time frame, on like the 4 hour, you can't really see on the 4 hour, can you though? On dailies where you see it though, to be fair. So let's go to daily where we see the rate. There's actually nothing on the daily, so not actually as much volume as we expect. But to back up the void of confluence in terms of the vector candles, we've got this. We've got this big old head and shoulders, which is going to be giving us difficulty, bringing us down here. Remembering what the market's doing, remembering we could probably come to obviously got the 15 cents, but I do think it's about 14 cent here max, about filling this range. Considering our touch off it and then our big dump, this is going to be a touchy area. But you can see, touchy areas. This is a similar one. You touched it, obviously big sell, and then we eventually filled it. So we've touched it, we could fill it. This is we did this. You can see we had this candle right here, where we touched it here, and then came right down, but then we came back into it to fill. So we could have a similar scenario like that, where we've already kind of touched it to get the brunt, and now we're going to kind of come back into it and invalidate it. If you go off inefficiencies or fair value gaps, whatever, this is fair value gap. We've already touched it, so we've already, used it up, or whatever the one you want to say. I could be wrong with that. You might need to fill it. I'm not someone who really trades fair value gaps too much, but it could be a scenario where we've touched it, we've done it all in, and now we're going to continue onwards to the next area, which would be 15 cents, which is what is backed up on the daily. Oh no, the 4 hour, sorry, is what's backed up on here, bringing us down. So we've got that. So that's my range, towards maybe 14 cents, towards 15 cents, or not 14 to 15, sorry, not cents. This kind of range, and then coming down to this massive area. We do have this buy and sell. So again, considering how I think Bitcoin's going down, it's kind of bouncing off this resistance again. It's coming down a bit, probably filling some more of this kind of stick. You can actually probably see there's kind of this big old area here. If you go to the midpoint, it's about 58.5, which backs up by this order block. So we could come back to this order block. Going back to the 1 hour, you can see touching this midpoint, this order block would give us some more buy. You can see as well, you got this inefficiency on the 1 hour from the 4 hour, coming to about 58.5. So I think we have a bit of resistance. Again, similar with this, we have resistance wherever we are right now. We can see we're having a bit of difficulty, bounce here. We could come down a bit and then come up in the market. But that's going to be over the rest of today, coming into Asia, so it's not really something which matters. So, a lot of words, a lot of numbers, pretty crazy. If it's been a lot and it's kind of like gone over, I've talked a lot and you didn't really catch the TA, come to the Telegram, come ask you to the TA for the Flocky chart or the Mantra chart or the OM chart. Oh no, sorry, the Ton chart. And I'll send it in Telegram and I'll send it to you so you can see my price areas and I'll draw it out. Because I know I have talked a lot today. I've gone over quite a bit. I do need to, obviously I need to cut it down a bit, but it's been quite full. It's been a really, really full day today. So if you do want the TA or you do want my price targets, then come to Telegram, come ask me, because that's where we can communicate. So I'm finally done. It's been long. It's been arduous. A really, really long, long stream today. So thank you all for sticking by. Let me just see what the chat's saying. Okay, so it's not really. Jessica said hello, Jessica. We're just ending. Sorry. Okay, so let me check the chat. The main people are, the real people. I've just edited my entire UI for some reason. Yeah, so I've done that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, money flow. Yeah, actually, what's money flow doing? Actually, I haven't really looked at money flow in a while. Let me put my this. I like keeping it, give it separate so I can see what's going on exactly. So we look at the 4 hours, see what's going on. We're coming up. This is good. I mean, I saw this already. Really good come up. I talked about this in the Telegram already. I think like a passing comment about how good this money flow is. But if you go to the daily, see what's going on. This is good. Green dot and this coming up. But again, it's not like a really. We can go back to these periods over here, and you can see. Okay, cool. Oh, we've got a green dot here. We've got money flow coming up, and then what do? We came up a bit, then we came all the way back down. Then we got some normal candles actually, so you can actually see what's going on. Let me hide all this trash on the screen as well. So she's like, all right, cool, yeah. Oh, we've got this green dot. Let's go on. Money flow. Oh, look, VWAP's coming up. The stochastic RSI is coming up. It's green. We're oversold. VWAP's coming up. Oh, let's go. This is a really good sign. We're going to come up, and then we didn't come up. This is where people get stopped out. This was actually probably the area. If I go to the OI area, actually, it's probably something I haven't done in a while. Where is it? Which one's it going to be? It's going to be this one. So yeah, this is probably an area where we've got big stop outs, and obviously we came down. So it doesn't matter. I'm not saying the market has to completely pay attention to exactly what's going on. It's on and off. It is on and off. If it goes to like maybe 1 hour, so what's going on here? This is pretty high. We've got a red dot. This is still coming up, but it's starting to, it could have potential to arc. VWAP's coming down for a while, so that's kind of planting the seeds of negativity. So we can wait for it. We can see what's going on. Had a bit of a hoverage here as well before we came up. So this is probably a decent area of support now as we flipped it. You can see going back even a significant area. But this was a significant area as well, and we're having difficulty here, probably coming down again. So obviously you can see RSI completely oversold or overbought, really, really overbought. Stochastic RSI really overbought. So do you have to pay attention to that as well for this. I do want to really quickly, just before I end the stream, really quickly, just go over to see where liquidations could be for this. So again, it's just beautiful. It is really just beautiful. Where do we draw these from? So this is how you use it. So CBD. Okay, cool. What do we see? This is how you use it right now. Obviously you can go to CoinGlass and do it, but this is how you do it for if your coin you want to get liquidation potential for. You need the OI and you need the CBD. That's all you need. You can use the funding rate. I don't use the funding rate. I use CBD. I'll probably try it out. But this is how you can potentially see where the liquidations could be in the market. So this is the 30-minute. Actually, probably might do the hour instead, just so we can see a bit better. it's redrawing. It's not redrawing. Let's just go back to frame. It's not redrawing. So we can see you draw. Okay, this is I haven't posted this yet because it's not really anything special, but it's just a tool which shows where potential liquidations could be for different for longs and or shorts. So you can see, all right, what's happening on this come up of contracts. So OI is a general amount of contracts. So it could be either sell contracts or buy or short or long or bid or ask, whatever you want to call it. It's just the general amount of contracts that are coming into the market. So you can see this candle in here, really big come up in the really big come up in the OI right now. You can see as we start to have that come up, you can see the red line, which is the negative volume, is coming up. You can see the general the CVDs, these like histogram lines, whatever, is coming down. So you can see, okay, cool, volume's down, negative, and we have contracts coming up, which means we're having shorts coming in. Lo and behold, you do it for the shorts, 25x, target 25x, we come to it exactly. So I just really want to quickly see if we've got more. We can see here, boom. You can see these are coming in. So the general amount, you can see, yeah, you can see all these. This is perfect. You can see all these contracts start to close. All the volume comes in, which is people buying back because they've sold. So you can see where the orders start to come in. You can see volumes starting to come up in here. So let's flip this on its head really quickly. Actually, I should probably... No, this is... Actually, are these shorts? No, the volume's coming down, actually, over the period. And then they start to get longs all of a sudden. So, this actually going to be... Okay, I actually misworded it on here. So I need to put this for here, where the longs are. If you see, we're coming down. So, negative contracts coming in. You can see, liquidation price 1, liquidation price 2. Targeting to 20x. What we'll be doing, we're hitting off 20x. Really, exactly. So these are all liquidations. Anyway, I need to end the stream. I was just quickly showing this. So, join Telegram. Want need a TA, join Telegram and ask me. And I need to end the stream. So, thank you. Goodbye.